Hello, I'm Roderick. Today I want to talk about something we seldom frame this way. Is the United States getting dumber? And if so, how does that affect our health, our relationships, our leadership, and the divisions in our nation? I'll reference the work of John Taylor Gatto, show you recent US statistics, and then propose a path forward. Let's dive in. This is not a question meant to provoke anger or to assign blame. It is a question born of deep care and genuine concern for the future we are building for our children, for their children. It is a question that every leader, every father, every husband must consider. We stand at a crossroads. The path we choose will define the character and competence of our nation for generations to come. In our journey today, we will not wander aimlessly through opinion and speculation. We will follow a clear roadmap. First, John Taylor Gatto, his ideas and warnings. Next, the hard data, the simple facts and figures from recent national tests that paint a picture we cannot afford to ignore. Finally, and most importantly, we will outline a practical path forward. John Taylor Gatto was not just a teacher, he was a profound observer of the institution he served for 30 years. He was named New York City's Teacher of the Year on multiple occasions, but he eventually walked away from the classroom. He believed the modern school system was designed not to emancipate minds, but to manage them. In his books, Gatto argued that schools have a hidden curriculum. This curriculum is not about reading, writing, arithmetic. It is a set of lessons taught implicitly about compliance, conformity, and one's proper place in a rigid social hierarchy. The system produces manageable employees and passive consumers, not bold independent thinkers. First, schools teach confusion. They present a disconnected jumble: algebra, history, literature. Subjects stay separate, so students don't see the world as a coherent whole. That conditions acceptance of fragmented information, weakening systemic thinking. It fosters reliance on experts, not empowerment to figure things out. Second, schools teach class position. From the start, children are sorted, ranked, labeled. They learn to stay in their assigned class. They are watched constantly, trained by bells when to start and when to stop. This is not training for self-governance or entrepreneurship. Finally, schools teach emotional and intellectual dependency. Schools make all the important decisions: what to learn, when to learn it, how learning will be judged. Success looks like pleasing the authority with the gradebook, not curiosity or effort. Gatto saw this as a direct assault on the American spirit of ingenuity and self-determination. John Taylor. Gatto's warnings may sound like theory, but the data we see today gives his words a chilling substance. We do not have to guess about a decline in skills, we can measure it. National Assessment of Educational Progress, the NAEP, the nation's report card. Its latest results are not just disappointing, they are alarming. The scores for 13-year-olds in reading and math have seen some of the largest drops ever recorded. After decades of reform and technology, our graduating seniors are less proficient at reading than their parents' generation was. Many American adults read below a 6th grade level. They struggle with leases, loan options, and medicine labels, and to help their own children with homework. Some blame recent disruptions, but the decline began long before 2020, and it has accelerated. This is not just the Department of Education's problem. It lands on every leader's desk, and at the kitchen table of every family. The numbers are a wake-up call. What do they mean for our future? When a nation's people lose proficiency in basic skills, the first and most immediate consequence is economic. A modern economy is built on knowledge, communication, the ability to solve complex problems. When that foundation cracks, the entire structure is put at risk. Imagine a company competing globally when many struggle to read technical manuals, write clear emails, or perform basic calculations. Productivity grinds, costs rise as firms invest heavily in remedial training. The skills gap drags the entire economy. When talent can't be found at home, jobs are offshored, or talent is imported. Both weaken the domestic workforce. A nation that cannot educate its own people to fill critical jobs is outsourcing its future. The consequences are personal: economic insecurity, limited prospects, harder to climb the ladder, earn a promotion, start a business. Beyond economics, there is a deeper cost: the erosion of civic life. A healthy republic depends on citizens who can read complex arguments, distinguish fact from falsehood, understand budgets, and weigh long-term trade-offs. As literacy and critical thinking decline, public discourse grows shallow, emotional, and easily manipulated. Low literacy correlates with lower voting and civic participation. A vacuum forms, filled by misinformation and demagoguery. Trust in institutions and one another crumbles. Our capacity to compromise and build common ground shrinks. The third consequence is a widening gap between groups, not just wealth but capability. On one side, those who can navigate complexity, the thinkers, the creators, the problem solvers. On the other, people left to perform tasks designed by others, with little agency or hope. Division breeds resentment and the belief that success is rigged, eroding cohesion and blocking collective solutions. The divide in skills becomes a divide in reality. Gatto's warning about learned passivity feeds this split. A house divided against itself cannot stand, and a nation divided by competence faces a fundamental threat to unity and the future. The picture is somber, but not without hope. The trends are not destiny. As leaders, as fathers, and as husbands, we can start now. Move 1. Recenter on real education, not mere schooling. At work, value learning and problem solving over a list of credentials. At home, teach children to ask good questions, not just memorize answers. Encourage projects, hobbies, and deep dives into what sparks curiosity. Move 2. Build strong foundational skills. Return to basics. Insist on clarity in communication. Make clear writing and articulate speech core team values. At home, read daily. Talk about what you read. Fill your home with books. Don't delegate literacy to school alone. Take ownership. A man who reads is a man who leads, and a family that reads thrives. Move 3. Restore community and mentorship. Young people need wise adults. Create mentoring programs. Pair seasoned workers with younger ones to impart wisdom, not just tasks. Coach, lead, or simply take an interest in a young person who needs a role model. Apprenticeships teach craft and responsibility in ways no lecture can. Rebuild bridges between generations. Move 4. Encourage agency. Dependency is crippling. Delegate real authority. Let people lead small projects and decide. Celebrate intelligent risk-taking, even when it fails. At home, assign meaningful responsibilities that build confidence and resilience. An individual who believes they can affect their own future is truly free. Move 5. Act locally while pushing for systemic change. You can change your home, your team, your town. Support teachers trying new approaches. Donate time and resources. Back programs teaching real skills, from coding to carpentry. To wrap up, yes, the U.S. is facing a steep challenge in education, in foundational skills, and in the kind of thinking our system produces. Gatto's critique gives us a lens to understand how conformity and compliance can replace independent, engaged thinking. But the path out is in our hands. As leaders, fathers, husbands, model a different way. Learning, curiosity, community, responsibility. If we begin there, we can begin to heal our teams, our families, and perhaps the broader culture too. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, I invite you to comment or reach out. Until next time, lead well, learn deeply, live fully.